We have Annette Shepard. She's our master glass blower. Let's give her a round of applause. Welcome her to the stage. She's going to make us a beautiful piece of glass. To begin with, she is going to pick up some hot molten glass from our furnace. Now inside of our furnace over there, we have about 300 pounds of glass kept at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you look on the end of the pipe, the glass looks orange, but it's actually clear glass. Right now, the glass is so hot, it's giving off its own light source. But as it cools down, that orange glow will slowly fade away to clear. Her next step is to begin to inflate the hot glass. So in a second, she's going to blow into the pipe. That pipe she has in her hand is called the blowpipe. It's hollow, just like a drinking straw. So she can blow it into one end. Keep your eyes on the glass. You'll see a small air bubble begin to form. Now we call that the starter bubble. And whether Annette's making a vase, a bowl, a bottle, a plate, everything up here on stage starts out looking just like that bubble. From that bubble, you can make anything. It's really the foundation of glass blowing. At the moment, Annette has a small little bubble. She can make a nice drinking cup or a little coffee saucer. Oh, you were going to make a coffee saucer. Why don't you make something else? I'll try to guess that too. Something bigger. You want to see her make something bigger? Or do you just want to see her make a little coffee saucer? Bigger. They want bigger now. Can you do that for them? How about a big coffee saucer? Okay, she'll make you a big coffee saucer. So to do that, she's going to need more glass. She doesn't have a whole lot of glass at the moment. So she'll come right back to our furnace here and pick up another layer of hot molten glass. And that's how glass blowers increase the size of the glass they make. They build it up in layers. So she's plunged the bubble into the molten material, spun the pipe, and you can see she's picked up quite a bit more glass on the end. And right now, remember, that glass is 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. At that temperature, it's very soft and fluid. At the moment, it has about the same consistency as honey would have. It's a lot like honey at this point. So she's using a large wooden block to shape, center, and cool the glass down all at the same time. And these blocks, they're made out of cherry wood. They're just dipped in ordinary tap water. That's why they're not bursting into flames. We do have a variety of tools, though. This is a steamer pad. It's a felt pad soaked in water where she can shape the glass with the palm of her hand. Take a look at this. This is pretty neat. These are called optic molds. They're cast aluminum molds. She drips the glass, comes out, and she has ridges in the glass. That mold is giving the glass some texture. And if you look up above on our monitor, you can see inside of our reheating furnace. You can really see the ridges in the glass. And that furnace is a big barrel of heat. It's about 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit inside of there. And that's next step is to begin to inflate the hot glass. And it doesn't take much air pressure. It's just about as much air pressure as you need to blow out a candle. It's a very light puff. You can see that glass blows right up for her. Now, as she inflates the glass, she's also going to have to make a constriction at the top of the bubble called a neckline. This constriction will eventually become the rim of the coffee saucer / bowl. But more importantly, it will allow Annette to knock the glass free from the pipe. It's kind of like a crease in a Hershey's chocolate bar where you can snap the chocolate very evenly. It's the same concept. This crease or constriction will allow her to snap the glass free from the pipe in just a few minutes. Now that is a really nice shape for a bowl. At the moment though, it wouldn't sit too flat on our table, so we have a couple different options. Are you going to do a solid foot on this, Annette? All right. So one thing you may notice is Annette's always spinning the pipe. Even though this looks pretty solid, it is still in a molten state. And if she were to stop spinning, gravity would pull the glass towards the earth. And you're going to see us do that in just a second. I'm going to pick up some clear glass on the end of a solid iron. And we're going to drip this right onto the bottom of the bubble, and that's going to make a really nice foot out of it. But you'll see just how fluid the glass is at 2,000 degrees. When I stop spinning, this will drip right onto the bottom. Okay. So there we go. Now as soon as that clear glass touches, it welds instantly. It's on there for good. And that's just going to push that back, flatten up the bottom, give our bowl a stable surface to rest on. This is how most of our vessels are made. We always make the bottom half first. And now that we have the bottom half made, we're going to have to flip it around and start to work on the top. We're going to add some color to the glass. And you can see I'm getting out of some of this crushed up colored glass called frit. We're going to put a fine line of color right around the top of the bowl in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to have to transfer the piece. We're going to knock the bowl off of Annette's pipe onto a punty. Now a punty is a solid iron with a little bit of hot molten glass on the end of it. So this little bit of glass that I have here will act as glue. We're going to stick it right to the bottom of the bowl. I am ready. Now Annette places this right on center, making sure her iron and my iron are on the same center point. But remember the constriction. Right now that's the weakest part of the glass, so she scores it, a quick tap. And because of the constriction, the glass breaks very evenly and very cleanly right off of Annette's pipe. Now if you look up above on our monitors, you can see there's a little opening left behind. That little opening is eventually going to become the rim of the piece. But before we open it up any further, I was saying earlier, Annette wants to add a little bit of color in a form of a lip wrap. A lip wrap is just a thin band of color right around the top. And for our lip wrap, we're going to use a really nice cherry red color. So to put color in the glass, I'm just going to roll the clear glass through the color. It's like rolling an ice cream cone in sprinkles. And you can see the color sticks right to the surface. And the more that I roll into the color, the denser or thicker the color becomes. Now, this is great for demonstrations. It does add some decoration to the glass, but it shows you some of the properties of the glass. And one thing glass is really good at is stretching. You're going to see us stretch this glass. You can actually stretch glass thinner than a human hair. You'll see that in just a second. Okay, I'll be ready in just a second on that. I'll be ready in just a minute. 10 minutes? No, I'm ready. So Annette will control the thickness of this wrap by the rate at which she spins the pipe, and she's just going to wrap it evenly right around the top. There we go. Perfect job. Now, she's going to melt that in, but if you look up here, you can see we have a little bit of hot glass left. I could stretch that for another 100 feet if I wanted to. You know, when glass is thin, it's actually very flexible. I can almost tie this into a knot. And also, remember, just less than 5 seconds ago, this was 2,000 degrees. Already, it's cooled down to room temperature, where I can hold it in my hands. And the rate at which this cools is our biggest challenge. You know, if Annette's bowl drops below 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, it will crack and shatter right on the end of her pipe. So throughout this entire demonstration, it's very important that Annette keeps this bowl above 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Now our next step is to begin to open up the top. So you can see she's heating just the top, and she'll come back to her seat and use one of her steel tools to apply a slight upward pressure, or downward pressure, and outward pressure. And that's a beautiful looking bowl as it is, but she's going to take this one step further. She's going to make it a little larger and a little fancier. And to do that, she's going to use two of our favorite tools. That's gravity and centrifugal force. So you're going to have to watch carefully. This happens very quickly. But as Annette spins, centrifugal force will open this right up into a plate. When she comes out of the furnace, she'll hold the bowl upside down and drape the edges back in using gravity. But watch quickly, watch carefully. This happens quickly. Keep your eyes on Annette, or you can look up above on her monitor. There we go, and it gives us a beautiful scallop pattern. Very nice job. And that scallop pattern is very even because of the optic mold that Annette used in the beginning of the show. Now I told you just a few minutes ago, if this drops below 1,000 degrees, it will crack and break. So to get this down to room temperature, we have to cool it down very slowly in a process called annealing. It will actually take about 10 hours for this bowl to come down to room temperature. And by cooling the glass very slowly, it relieves any thermal stress from the glass. And whether it's this glass, window glass, your drinking glasses at home, all glass has to go through the slow cooling process. So we're going to put it into this special oven called an annealer. And as I said, this will bring it down to room temperature. This bowl will be ready for us to hold in our hands tomorrow morning when we come into work. Beautiful piece of glass. Annette Shepard, everyone. Great job. Well, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our show. We definitely enjoy doing it for you. There's a lot to see and do here, so enjoy your visit. Have a great time at the museum. Yeah. You're welcome.